Hey guys, this is Betamax, here always forever with Fidel and Eddie, and I'm Birdie. Today we're going to be talking about a saga that started a long time ago, and we're finally getting close to the end. So, we're going to be talking about the Star Wars saga, the prequels in the original trilogy and the new trilogy. Today's episode, the prequels.
All right. First one up, Phantom Menace. Came out in 1999. Around a lot of hype because it was like 16 years before the last Star Wars movie came out beforehand.
Yeah. How old were we when we were 1990?
When we were 1999?
When we were in 1999.
99.
I think I was 8 or 9.
Yeah?
I think I was 8 or 9.
I was 11.
Okay.
And I was 9.
But yeah, like there was a lot of hype around this movie. I read that like people lined up a month before tickets even went on sale just for this movie. Do you guys remember the hype at all? Were you into the hype at all?
Oh, yeah, dude, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Nah, I wasn't.
No?
At all. No.
How did you guys like get into Star Wars?
My first experience with Star Wars was at an in-law's house. One of my past relatives put on the VHS of The Empire Strikes Back, and I pretty much fell in love with it after that. I didn't even see A New Hope or Return of the Jedi after that, because after that, I saw The Phantom Menace the same year.
Same year?
Yeah, but after I saw Empire Strikes Back, when I was a kid, I did this thing where, like, if I saw a movie, I had to find out if it had a toy line.
Oh, okay.
So, like, Star Wars, it has, like, an unlimited supply,
Yeah.
you know? So, like, my mom and dad and, like relatives, like, that year, Christmas just loaded me up with, like, a bunch of Star Wars shit. And then I remember after that, I saw Phantom Menace, but that was my first real
introduction
into Star Wars was Empire, and then the prequels.
What about you, Eddie?
I think I was like maybe 7 or 8, and I was in Hemet at my uncle's house, and there's nothing to do in Hemet.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Sucks. There's nothing out there. So he noticed that I was bored, so he just bought out the VHSs and he's like, "Oh, here, let's watch this." And I saw A New Hope, and I was just really intrigued by it. Like, I've never seen anything like it. That was before I wasn't even, like, I didn't care about movies back then.
Yeah.
Besides, like, Disney stuff. And ever since then, like, it just, like, stuck in my head. Like, I couldn't, like, watch anything else. Like, I was just watching Star Wars over and over. I made my mom, like, buy the VHSs. And that was the start of it. Then I wasn't, like big. Like, I didn't have the toys. I didn't have, like, clothes, but I was, like, fascinated by it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, like, a huge fanboy about it. And it wasn't until, like, I saw The Phantom Menace in theaters.
Yeah.
And I saw it on IMAX. And I didn't even see the commercials for it, so I didn't know. Like, I remember I went with some friends, and it was playing, so we're like, "Oh, let's go see that." And I just remember, like, it blew my mind. So, like, that was, like, when I really started, like, wearing, like, Star Wars t-shirts and stuff like that. So that was pretty much when I got, like, really into it. But at first it was A New Hope.
New Hope. That was your introduction into it?
Yeah, that was the very first movie I watched.
I think for me, it was probably Empire. And it was probably on Laserdisc with my uncle, who I'm coming to realize has introduced me into a lot of things that, like, I'm into nowadays. But I believe I saw Empire at his house on Laserdisc, and I honestly, like, don't remember it.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, the whole, like, craze of Phantom Menace. You know,
Yeah.
I do remember all that. I didn't see it in theaters. I didn't see it until it came out on DVD, I believe. And so I never really bought, like, I wouldn't say bought into the hype, but I just never was like a huge fan. Like, I liked it, you know?
Yeah.
It was cool to me, but I wasn't like a hardcore fan, like a hardcore fanboy of Star Wars or anything like that. So I never really followed it, or never really followed up with watching the old movies. So I actually saw the prequel trilogy before I saw the original trilogy.
Mm.
So like, as far as like the whole hype with Phantom Menace, like, I just thought it was weird to me that, like, damn, people are acting this crazy for a movie.
You got like
I
grown
didn't get
men
it.
dressing up
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Like, it was goofy to me, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember seeing any of that kind of stuff, like, on TV? Like, all the
Well, I
the craze
was
for it?
I would say I was a part of it, because
Yeah?
I remember like getting a Darth Maul costume,
Mm-hmm.
like the plastic mask and all that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was normal, but I was I was a fucking kid, you know.
Yeah.
So it was okay for me to be that age and like get a costume and a lightsaber and like just pretend that I could lift things with my hand and like slice people up. But I never realized until I was probably like later in my teen years that I was like, wait, there was grown guys doing that with me. That was weird.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, oh cool, you like this as much as I do. But later on when I thought back on it, I was like, that was
kind of
weird.
cool but weird.
That was weird. But I was definitely like very hyped on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would admit that I still am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would do you guys remember, like, your initial reaction to the movie after seeing it?
Phantom Menace.
For Phantom Menace, yeah.
I remember as a kid, there's only 2 big scenes that I enjoyed. But those 2 scenes meant the world to me, especially the last, like, duel.
Yeah.
Like, that was, like, everything to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That and the pod race.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love the pod race scene, but, yeah, that last fight scene between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, I would rewind on the VHS and watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
And I think just because of those 2 scenes, I became, like, a huge fanatic for that.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just crazy to think about, like, those 2 scenes, like, stood out to me, and, like, that's what kept me watching that movie. So,
What about you, Birdie?
Yeah, I would say those scenes.
They stuck out to you?
Yeah. Yeah, those 2 scenes, I thought were.
Those seem to be, like, the most well liked scenes.
I think
from that
I think
movie.
those scenes made the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember like trying to get my cousins to like buy lightsaber toys so we can reenact that
Yeah.
like last scene.
It to me, it still holds up. That final battle.
Yeah, I think so.
to me, like, out of, like, the fight scenes from, like, the prequels, that's definitely my favorite. It's a standout for me. Just the way it's filmed and just with that theme song in the background.
Yeah.
It's just perfect.
Yeah.
But it's something that you've never seen before with the original movies, where it's like so well choreographed. It's just fast.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like everything's down to like a dime. Like, it's just quick, precise,
And it's
you don't-
intense.
Like,
And I think that lightsaber duel scene was probably the only scene in the prequels where there was some tension. Like there was some actual
Yeah.
like there was some like it didn't
There were
feel
stakes.
yeah, like there was some high stakes in that fight because of how George Lucas set it up. Especially with the whole hallway with the shields that go on and off.
Yeah.
and not to mention, it's like the first time you see like a different lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know, you get the double-sided lightsaber, and you like didn't think that was like a thing, you know, until you saw
Yeah.
the movie. You're like, what? You can do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. Every kid wanted that lightsaber.
So like overall though, like what did you think of the movie as a whole? Like, do you remember like your initial thoughts on that?
Over time, I think a lot of it now, like when I watch it, it's just nostalgic.
Yeah.
Like I get like it just reminds me when I was a kid watching it, and I saw that was the first movie I ever saw in IMAX,
Mm-hmm.
and like and just being blown away seeing like a huge screen that big and like seeing a movie like in that like surrounding. But yeah, like I would say if I didn't see it as a kid, like I would not watch it. Like I wouldn't care about it at all.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be like an unpopular opinion, but I think out of the prequels, I would watch this over the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Birdie? What do you remember your initial reaction to it? Your initial thoughts on the whole movie?
Yeah, I thought it was the greatest thing I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why you like scoffed right now when I asked it? You're kind of like
Yeah,
laughing.
because I remember like, dude, I left the theater like telling my dad like, let's come back tomorrow and watch it again. And I remember he was pissed that night that we went to go see it because this was like before like buying tickets on the internet was a thing. But I remember like we got to the theater, and this was probably like a week after opening night. But we got to the theater, and he was like trying to buy tickets, but they were like, all we have is IMAX, and they were pricier than the regular tickets. And he was like, I don't want to fucking pay that. Fuck. But I was being a crybaby. I was like, no, we have to fucking watch this. But like, I remember he bought them, and he was like, fuck, I just spent all that money like on these tickets. But I remember like after the movie, like we were all pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
Like even my dad, it was weird. But
was he a fan of like the Star Wars movies?
No.
No?
My dad's a Bicep dude. Like my dad's
hey,
like,
there's Spices that like Star Wars.
like my dad's like super from the village in Mexico and shit.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't really understand it, but I think he fell in love with the spectacle.
Yeah.
It, But I remember I fell in love with Star Wars after that, dude.
Yeah.
After Empire, it was like I'm in, but after the Phantom Menace, I was like, I'm in forever. Like this is it for me.
That's funny that you say that because I had a similar reaction after watching it. Because I mean, like it came on '99, or kids.
Yeah.
But I had the same thing. Like I watched it, I was like, holy shit, fucking incredible, But like it was because of that fucking final battle.
That last fight scene.
Yeah.
That last battle is just like that. It blew me away. Just the whole, like you mentioned, the choreography of it is just incredible. It's just had me on the edge of my seat, type of thing. But even like being at that age and not really understanding visual effects and just I thought it was such like a beautiful looking movie, And didn't it like change the game as far as like visual effects go?
Yeah, because this was when George Lucas started to get really, I wouldn't say obsessed, but he started running ILM like crazy, dude. Like he was using them for everything. Like that was his like CGI company that he kind of like he fell in love with that shit, which is why he took the chance to do what he did with the original trilogy, because that was all ILM.
Yeah.
So the fact that they also have their hands all over like these prequels, it's like it was revolutionary at the time, because most of the CGI was like, I don't know, I would say Terminator 2 early 90s.
Yeah.
It was like, that liquid metal guy, and then like Titanic with that ship falling apart, and then Jurassic Park and Godzilla, with making those animals come alive the way they did and that was all like the beginning stages of CGI. But Star Wars was really the first movie to just like fuck it, dude, like 80% CGI, let's do it, like so
it's kind of crazy too that even though there's a lot of CGI, they use a lot of like practical effects as far as like the scene where it shows waterfalls, it's like actually salt.
Oh yeah.
Or like the pod racing scene, like where it shows like all the bleachers with like all these groups of people.
Yeah.
Like they use Q-tips for the people.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's
I
nuts.
didn't know that.
So I know they get a lot of shit for the CGI, and like I don't like, obviously I don't appreciate it as much as like practical effects, but like they also did incorporate both of them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think honestly, it was ahead of its time.
Yeah, Oh yeah.
Because if you go to like Hollywood, like if you guys make a trip to Hollywood tomorrow, I dare you to find a good set. Like it's all blue or green screens now.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of it still holds up pretty well. There is a lot of like iffy scenes
Yeah.
in there, but most of it still holds up really well.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I loved it, you know, as a kid, and I remember once I started appreciating films and started really looking at them, like how they're made and just like the work that goes into them. That's when I revisited it, and that's when I guess the glass shattered for me because I was like, man, this movie's pretty bad.
Yeah. That's what I feel like. I'm saying, like, if you weren't to have seen that movie when you were a kid,
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't like it at all. Like, if you watch it now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think you'd even appreciate it. Like, I mean, I don't think I would if I didn't watch it as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, if I show this to, like, one of my nephews or something, I don't think they would care.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand there are people out there that like they still feel like this is a great film, you know?
Yeah.
And that's cool, you know, whatever. But just in my opinion, I'm just like, I don't know. I can't. It's not to me.
You know what the worst thing about this movie was for me?
What?
Even till now. They killed off Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Even as a kid.
At the time.
At the time, okay, yeah.
Well, I mean,
because we all know what's going on right now.
Yeah.
With that character. But at the time, like, there was no plans for him to come back, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that was upsetting.
I was like, even as a kid, like, I was rooting for him.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't know anything about this guy. Like, he's so mysterious. Like, he barely has any dialogue. And he gets chopped in half. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I wanted him to win. Like,
yeah.
Because every time he was on the screen, even when we were kids, like, it's just like you'd be like, whoa.
yeah, your eyes are, like, on him. Like, everything about him just oozed badass.
Yeah.
I mean, you're rooting for the Jedis. You know, you're like, oh, man, I hope these Jedis what are they doing again? You know, like, I hope they win. But whenever Darth Maul came on screen, like, you kind of stop breathing, you know? You're like, oh, that's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, but he looks so badass.
But yeah, like rewatching it as an adult, I started noticing things. I even like cameos, like the whole Keira Knightley as Natalie Portman's like handmaiden, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh shit. And I know a lot of people talk shit on like Jar Jar, and I don't like we don't want to basically recycle what everybody has said already. So like one thing I did want to mention about Jar Jar that I noticed is like he kind of has like a Forrest Gump incident. And what I mean by that is like Forrest Gump happens to like accomplish shit by accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Jar Jar has an incident like that during the battle, where he's like,
where he's like jumping around.
Yeah, he kind of like becomes the hero by accident. Yeah. And I thought that was hilarious. Like,
yeah,
I still thought that was hilarious.
As a kid, I didn't realize like how annoying he really was.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, as a kid, like I loved him. Like I thought he was funny and great. But of course, you know.
What do you think about the argument that it's like, oh, because it's a kid's movie, so like.
Well, that's true. It was a kid's movie.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't rated R.
Yeah.
Well,
but
I don't know, like.
But do you think that's a like that should give it a pass as far as like being good or bad?
I think it should give it a pass for kids. But for adults that complain about that shit, it's kind of weird. I mean, I still give it shit right now. I'm like 20 years old, but I still like talk shit on all that. But I don't know. It's just it feels warranted coming from someone who was there the first time. Yeah. You know, from hearing it from a stranger who you kind of feel like is an outsider. Yeah. So, in that perspective, I would say, yeah, this being a kids movie kind of does just. I guess it kind of gives it some slack, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just like, you know, like it's cool, but it's stupid. Yeah. It's so fucking stupid. Dude.
Yeah.
I think the character is just like too ridiculous.
Yeah.
To be in a movie, and I get it. Like they needed like some kind of
levity
appeal for kids.
Yeah.
And toys.
They sell toys. They need to sell toys.
I bought them too.
Did you get Jar Jar?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite toy was Joy-Ducons.
Mm-hmm.
the rolling guys.
Yeah.
That was my favorite toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean,
Actually, like, I think this movie also spawned some of the greatest video games that I've ever played.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
Star Wars, Jedi Power Battles for PS1,
I never played that
I'm
one.
not too familiar with the games
Yeah.
either.
and then Star Wars Pod Racer for
That
Nintendo
one.
64,
Yeah.
and then I think they also had something to do with Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that this game also, I mean, this fucking movie also spawned some pretty good games that I fell in love with when I was a kid, and that I still play to this day.
One thing I do want to mention before we like wrap up on this on episode 1, Jake Lloyd as Anakin. I was reading about how like because he played Anakin, he got like severely bullied in school, and it's kind of a sad story because like he got severely bullied and then he got diagnosed with like schizophrenia, got like in trouble with the law. Like he doesn't even act anymore. Like, what did you guys think of his performance?
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much charisma do you think you can get from a kid who only did a few projects before this big blockbuster film?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so his downfall was kind of warranted in that way,
Yeah.
because you kind of have to condition like child actors to kind of be ready for whatever comes their way when it comes to being in such a big franchise. I think so,
And I also think like
and I think they were so unprepared in that.
yeah, and I also think George Lucas doesn't know how to work with kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too.
Because I mean, it's not just on the actor. You know, it's a team effort basically. But yeah, I remember reading that when I was like looking up stuff about the movie, and this is like, damn, that sucks.
Did you like that kid?
I remember I didn't even care about him like when I was a kid, like when I was like 9 watching it. Like,
Yeah,
I think I was just more into the Jedis.
yeah.
Did you guys know like who he was supposed to be when you first watched the movie?
I just remember they always called him Anakin, so I was like, "That's Anakin," but I didn't know that was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's real name.
Yeah.
No, I knew that he was Darth Vader, and like one of the posters, I still think it's a cool poster. It
Oh,
shows,
the silhouette.
yeah, it has Darth Vader as a silhouette with Anakin walking.
That's a cool poster.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, but I don't know. I didn't really do much for me.
So yeah, what were you guys' overall thoughts on it on episode 1? Do you think it's the hate for it is warranted?
I would say yes and no.
Yeah. Why?
I mean, yes, because of how it just kind of fuck with the lore in the long run.
Yeah.
But no, because I mean, I don't know. It was a decent movie, you know. Still watchable movie. It's not The Room bad, but it's definitely.
Hey, The Room's watchable though.
Yeah, dude.
But it's not. I mean, it's not the greatest either. But I mean, I'll watch it tonight if I want to, you know. And I'll
watch it right now. Shit.
No, I would just say just fast forward to the end. Just watch that last fight scene and
that
turn
is
it
a
off.
pretty incredible battle. But so the next one for that came out after this, a sequel, Attack of the Clones, came out in 2002. I don't remember any hype for this one. Do you guys?
I just remember myself being hyped. But
Yeah.
I don't remember looking into the whole media hype behind it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like people trying to get in line, or you know, like news networks trying to like, oh my god, this pop culture phenomenon. But I remember like myself being like, yo, I can't wait.
What about you, Eddie?
yeah, I was the same as Birdie.
Yeah.
I don't remember like because none of my friends were into Star Wars. I was like the only one, but I just remember like looking at the trailers and like seeing posters everywhere and just thinking, oh, this is gonna be cool. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, like I don't remember any hype either. This is another one, like I don't think I saw any of the Star Wars in theaters. I might have seen Revenge of the Sith, but I remember seeing this one on DVD, and I don't remember any hype for it. At least not on the level of Phantom Menace, you know? But yeah, like this one came out takes place fucking 10 years later. And the one thing I remember from this movie was just severely disliking it, even on my first viewing of it.
I didn't feel that way.
No?
No.
You still thought it was tight?
I still left that theater being like, oh my god, that was even better, bro. Like, it was so good.
I think for me, like, the reaction was just more of like, man, that was fucking boring. You know?
Mine was like a mixture of both.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like the same thing with like the Phantom Menace. It had like a lot of good scenes that I liked, but it had a lot of boring parts as well.
Yeah, like I just remember thinking it was really boring, and I remember thinking Hayden Christensen like was terrible. Like I just did not like him at all.
I just remember I really, really didn't like I didn't hate it, but I just like I remember when those scenes came on, I was like, it's just boring. Was when Anakin and what's the name? Padme.
Like the romance.
Yeah, like
between them.
Their scenes between them two. I remember
their forced chemistry.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just didn't have anything like.
Yeah, I remember watching that when I was a kid and being like, oh, this is boring.
Yeah.
But like every other scene, like I thought was great. Like I thought that those scenes with like Ewan McGregor holding onto a droid for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, and then Anakin like flying through the city and the whatever taxi cab he was in. I thought that shit was tight.
Yeah.
This film contains like my second favorite scene from the prequels,
which is
when Anakin kills all the sand people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you just like, he's just ready to slaughter them all. And that's like the first time you get like the glimpse of like
the
Vader
dark
and
side.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, I think this was the movie where he kind of. This was the beginning of him turning.
Yeah.
You know, especially with.
Because he has all that anger built up.
Yeah.
Especially like after his mom gets killed.
Yeah. This is also this movie is the appearance of Boba Fett as a kid.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
But I mean, it has his dad in it. It's his dad, right?
Yeah.
And like who.
I thought that scene where they're flying through space was awesome. It had those sound effects with those exploding like bombs.
Oh, those like seismic chargers.
Yeah, and they just had that incredible sound that I fucking loved listening to.
I do remember liking like the sound design of it, but I just remember like thinking it was boring. I remember thinking the CGI was bad. That for me it was even worse than the first movie, and I didn't even think the CGI in the first movie was bad. I just remember thinking this one like this is the one with the assassin tries to kill him, right? And then like she's about to like reveal who sent her or whatever, and she gets shot.
Yeah.
And like it's a shapeshifter, and they go
back into herself.
Yeah, but the morphine and like it just looks so bad. I just remember thinking it looks so bad.
I remember the only bad part where I was like, well, this looks weird. This can't be real. Because I mean, when I was a kid, I thought CGI was like, well, I'm a fucking little kid, dude. Like I'm just like, oh my god, they really went to another planet. Fuck, you know what I just realized?
What?
I was a fucking dumbass little kid, dude.
Was? No, I love you, Birdie.
No, you don't.
But I just remember there's this one particular scene where I was like, man, this looks weird for some reason. Was when they were in the droid factory, like dodging when they were on the conveyor belt, like Anakin and Padme, they were like dodging all this shit.
Yeah.
Like they were just moving around, and I was like noticing that everything around them like was a little too like conveniently missing them, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember just watching that scene and being like, oh, this is weird. But me being like a Star Wars dick writer was like, yeah, it's still tight, so I don't care.
But yeah, like that was my initial reaction to it, like once seeing it for the first time. And I even rewatched it again just to see like maybe I missed something, you know, maybe a different mindset. I watch it and maybe it's good this time. And like upon that second viewing, that's when like again, like I started noticing like, one big cameo was Christopher Lee as Count Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Dracula, like the original Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fucking tight, and that I remember thinking the battle between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku and Yoda. I remember thinking that was tight, where Anakin loses his hand.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I remember the marketing for this movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole like my little green friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember like, you know, Burger King was like on top of that and like McDonald's, and I remember being like so hyped on the fact that we were going to see Yoda like
Battle.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess there was some like kind of media coverage that I do remember. And
Yeah.
it was that. I thought the TV trailers were hyping me up pretty.
I don't remember any of the trailers. Do you remember like that battle?
Yeah, I just remember hating it.
You hated it?
I didn't like it at all. Like
Why?
I thought Yoda like flying around. Even as a kid, like I thought it was kind of goofy. And and I just thought Count Dooku was like a weak villain.
Yeah.
Even though like I think he's an amazing actor. Like at the time when you're like a young kid, you don't care about like
Yeah.
what movies he's been in and.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first time I saw it, I didn't know who he was. You know?
Yeah, but I was just thinking like after Darth Maul, like I expected something
Yeah.
bigger, better, and like we got like this old guy with
Yeah.
like this weird looking lightsaber.
Yeah.
I thought
And-
that lightsaber was cool.
I didn't like it. Like I don't know. I didn't like. I didn't really care about it, but I just remember thinking I left disappointed. Like after I watched the movie,
Yeah.
and like even the parts that like I do appreciate now, like it took me a while for me to appreciate them.
And then like one thing I also noticed upon like watching it again was Palpatine. He seems a little paler in this movie than Phantom Menace, and that might have been like a sign of like
Something subtle. Like
yeah,
he's-
something subtle, like, oh, he's turning into, Darth Sidious, And I was just like, okay, that's pretty cool. A little foreshadowing, I guess. A little subtle foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But did you guys notice anything like crazy, like any Easter eggs or whatever, like that stood out to you?
No, just because I wasn't too familiar with the past lore of Star Wars at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said before, the prequels I only saw the Empire,
Yeah.
so I wasn't too familiar with like.
Like I had no idea he was gonna be the Emperor.
Yeah, because I remember like in Phantom Menace, Palpatine was around still.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember thinking like,
He was senator at that
yeah,
in Phantom Menace.
I remember thinking of him just being like, oh, that's a creepy old man.
Yeah. And then I think it was in Phantom Menace, like at the end where he becomes Chancellor, right? Or was it at the beginning of
He's
this
a pretty prominent character in all three,
Yeah.
but in this one in particular is where he kind of starts to making his moves,
Yeah.
so to speak, on taking over everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember actually being pretty scared of that guy.
Yeah, he was creepy.
Yeah, he was a creepy old man. I didn't like that shit.
This movie also has the infamous sand line. The I hate sand.
One of the greatest lines ever. This movie also inspired the fucking Jedi haircut.
Oh, the whole rat tail thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
I remember a lot of kids at school would have that.
I wanted
They'd be
that.
rocking that.
Do people still do that?
Probably.
I'm
But
sure
they're mostly
someone
like
out
in
there-
Corona, and they wear like disrupt patches.
Jesus Christ. I guess it's just not as like popular anymore. Because I do remember seeing that like in school.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
all
remember
the
I wanted
hipsters
that
had that.
fucking haircut, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted that shit so bad.
To be
But
honest, I remember thinking it looked stupid as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I was an asshole, so I thought everything was stupid.
Yeah, you still are.
Yeah, I am. But I'm nicer now.
No, not really.
Okay. Hey, get out.
Okay.
So Attack of the Clones. I would not want to rewatch this again. In my opinion, this is the weakest one of the prequel trilogy. What do you guys think about it?
I would say I would agree, but I would 100% still rewatch it
Yeah?
myself. Yeah.
Because you're that much of like a hardcore
I
like.
think so. Yeah. Like I'm a Star Wars dick writer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought this movie again also spawned like some video games that I really liked.
Which ones?
Bounty Hunter for GameCube, where you get to play Jango Fett,
Yeah.
and that actual Clone Wars like related movie, because you know how like some movies come out and they make like a movie video game,
Yeah.
like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man
Yeah.
movies, and then Spider-Man like one of these came out for that, and I thought it was tight, and yeah, I think that's it. But it had some pretty good shooters.
Yeah.
This movie again spawned some pretty dope video games.
Tight. I don't remember any of these games. Well, I mean, besides the pod
either.
racing one, I feel like I remember seeing the cover for Bounty Hunter,
Yeah, it has like him on a jetpack and he's
Yeah.
like shooting his...
but I never played it. But it sounds interesting. You did play it though?
Yeah, I was super into like. Well, I was a kid back then, like, so I was like always playing.
I mean,
video
I'm hoping you were a kid back then.
games. So I was always playing, like, I was either watching Star Wars or playing video games. So.
About Star Wars. Dang, fanboy over here. That's tight, dude.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm like. Yeah, I think I'm a fanboy, dude.
That's tight.
Not anymore though, because I'm definitely not into this new era of video games for these.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah, whatever.
What about you, Eddie? Like, any overall thoughts on Attack of the Clones?
If I had to like sit through one of the prequel movies and like rewatch everything, it would probably be this one.
Yeah?
Only because I think like it has more watchable, enjoyable scenes for me than any of the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the next one we're gonna talk about. Like I hated it.
Yeah?
Yeah. So and this one, after Phantom Menace, I was hyped, and this one kind of brought my hype down a little bit. And I was just kind of remember like I left disappointed, like thinking, like, okay, I don't know where this is gonna go. But there is a lot of scenes that I really enjoyed, like
Yeah.
especially like you said when he's just angry and he kills the sand people.
Yeah.
Like even like I remember like there's a shot in this movie where he's I think he's on the way to rescue his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on that speed bike, and I just remember thinking, damn, that's a cool shot. That looks awesome.
That was a cool shot.
You know what? It's funny that you bring that up because I was trying to remember a shot that I didn't like. And you just reminded that I actually didn't like that shot.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was a
Especially
pretty shot.
because, well, when was the last time you watched it?
It's been a long time.
What about you, Birdie?
I think last time I watched it was with Eddie. It was a long time ago. I think we were watching.
Yeah?
it,
That's
like-
probably the last time I watched it.
Yeah.
Then.
Okay, because I literally saw this scene, specifically this scene, tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
And it looked bad or what?
It looked really bad.
You could be right, dude. Like I'm pretty sure if I watch it, I'm like, oh man, it looks fake as hell or
Yeah.
something. But I remember like thinking like every kid wants a hovering motorcycle. So like
Oh, yeah, it was fucking tight.
like yeah, I just thought like man, that looks so cool and like I don't know, like you seen speed racers, like those speeder bikes in Return of the Jedi, but never like this, like where it's just like some angry young kid like driving it like
Yeah.
on his way to rescue his mom.
Yeah.
And like I wish it would have done more with that, but I just remember that scene stood out to me when I was a kid, and maybe because it was leading up to that scene I really like.
Yeah.
So like maybe that's why it always stuck to me. But I don't know, like as bad as a lot of the dialogue was for Anakin in this movie, like I liked his performance overall. If he didn't talk, that would have been perfect. Like I just like because he's like a good looking guy, so like he just has those facial expressions, and you're just like he has like a lot of angst
Yeah.
in his eyes, and I thought that was cool. Like he can pull off a lot of emotions just on his face, but of course he had like not so great script, so
Yeah.
he just had to work with what he could.
And with that, we go into Revenge of the Sith, the end of the prequel trilogy. This one, I remember loving.
What year did this one come
Oh, 2005. My bad.
2005. So I was
2005.
like,
I was a junior in high school.
yeah, I think I just started high school.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Maybe.
What?
No, yeah, I think I was either about to start high school or I just started when Revenge of the Sith came out.
What about you, Eddie? Where in high school were you in 2005?
Maybe freshman, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget I'm that much older than you guys.
Yeah, you're old as shit, dude.
Thanks.
Hey, can I borrow your WRP?
Fuck you. But yeah, no, I remember this one coming out, and I remember loving it. I thought it was awesome. Maybe because, like, I was a junior in high school, and at that time I was really into like dark shit.
Yeah.
And this movie, it's considered like the dark one, you know.
Yeah.
And so, the whole slaughtering of the younglings, like, I thought that was fucking awesome. The final battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, I thought was awesome. I just remember loving this one. And I think even to this day, I prefer this one out of the three. What about you, Eddie? I feel like I could see it in your face. You give it to me.
I hated this movie. And like everyone likes this movie out of the three.
Yeah.
The most. Like that's just like the popular opinion.
Yeah.
And I can see why, but like it was way too over the top for me. Like way too over the top.
Yeah.
Like to me they lost like the importance of like a lightsaber fight
Yeah.
when it just became like a bunch of like ballerinas dancing with lightsabers, and
I
it just
see what
felt
you
like
mean.
it just felt too crazy for me, and I'm just like this isn't grounded at all. I didn't feel like there was anything at stake.
Yeah.
I would say this would be the one responsible for everyone being so upset.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. I knew exactly what you were gonna
Yeah,
say.
go ahead.
Upset about what?
Go ahead.
The new trilogy, like with the Force Awakens and all that,
Yeah.
not having like crazy lightsaber fights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, like everybody fucking backflipping and, you know.
Power Rangers fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the one that
Started all that, and
started
like
this.
And maybe that's why I liked it so much, because I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan.
Yeah.
That's how they fight. So like, so maybe that's why it fed into that, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, like to me it just I remember I saw this one in theaters too, and I just didn't like it. And it took me like months before I saw it again, like maybe a year or so.
Yeah.
And then when I rewatched it, I'm like, oh, it's still the same. Like I just didn't like it. But I think like I said, a lot of it has to do with like the lightsaber fights being so over the top. And
Yeah.
just I don't know. To me, like I always liked the grittiness and the sloppiness of like the original look,
Yeah.
and like everything just looks so new and like super functional. Everything was so clean in the in this prequel trilogy, and especially this one, everything just felt so polished.
Yeah.
And like it starts off with like this crazy like space fight, and then you know Anakin lands this like ship like that's falling, and it falls into a planet. It's like super Michael Bay-ish almost.
Yeah.
And I just remember like thinking like, man, it's too grand. Like it sounds weird to say, but it was too grand for a legit Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if this could have been anything else, I think I would have liked it, but just because it was a Star Wars film, I don't know. Like
It didn't live up to the name for you.
yeah, and like it's hard for me to like. There's only one scene that I really enjoyed, and that's the scene that you mentioned, like where he kills the younglings.
Yeah.
And you know, it has that scene where the little kid goes up to Anakin, like, "What are we gonna do?" And Anakin turns his lightsaber on, and this little kid, like for like a split second, like kind of jumps. He like flinches a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it cuts, and it doesn't show him killing anyone, but you just know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like a powerful scene.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking cool. But that's like the only scene that I could like think of that I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Birdie? What was your reaction to seeing Revenge of the Sith for the first time?
I thought it was a great conclusion to what I needed to know about Anakin becoming Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the final transformation for him.
Yeah.
This is where he truly becomes Darth Vader, and Anakin dies.
Yeah.
And I like the subtleness that George Lucas took with this one. I feel like, man, with this trilogy, it's like he just kept learning from his mistakes. It's funny, because in this one, like he becomes a much more subtle writer for this character, because even in the beginning dogfight, you know, with the separatists versus the clone army or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like subtle hints of like Anakin's real ambitions and actions coming to light when him and Obi-Wan are kind of going through like this dogfight, and then like one of the clone troopers is like asking for help because he's fucking like he's about to get killed, and he's like getting shot at. He's like, I need help, someone cover me. And Anakin's hearing it. He's like, I can't, I have to go back and help him. But Obi-Wan stops him and tells him like, don't go, like they're doing their job.
Yeah,
you need to do your job, because he's trying to let him know like, don't get so connected. That's not the Jedi way. You know, this is why we have these rules of not being so connected to other people, because sometimes you got to make that decision of either letting him die or killing them, you know.
Yeah.
And you can tell Anakin wasn't ready for that yet. So that subtleness of his character kind of not following the Jedi way and becoming connected with other people that he hardly knew was not something that a Jedi would do, but more of like a desperate Sith Lord, you know. But yeah, that, and then the whole deal of him just like there's just this battle within him of like, you know,
you think that was like properly conveyed?
Yeah, you know, like it really showed the battle within him of like, I want my friends not to die, but I also want to be powerful.
Yeah.
But in order for me to be powerful, I kind of had to.
Had to be a dick.
Kind of had to let my friends die.
Yeah.
You know? So, in this film is, I would say it is my favorite out of the three.
Yeah.
Because I got so connected with the first two, and following the lore and getting so into it, really I like studying what the Force is, and you know, how to become a Jedi, what it takes to be a Jedi, how to become a Sith Lord, what it takes to become a Sith Lord. It all came to a conclusion for me in this movie, because this was like the end of my fanboy era for a while, until, I don't know, 2015 maybe.
Yeah.
But this was the end of it, you know. So it really impacted me, because I wanted to know how it was going to end.
Yeah.
So the fact that I got to see it end, it crushed me, but it satisfied me at the same time.
Yeah.
So this one would be my favorite out of the three, and I do agree with what Eddie has to say about this film too, because I remember too, like, oh man, I'm gonna sound like a fucking idiot, but when I was a fucking like freshman, I still at the theater being like, it was way better than the last two. This is still the best one. But I'm pretty sure if me and Eddie went together, he'd be like, oh, dude, I can't be Birdie's friend no more. Fucking idiot. He doesn't know what a good movie is. But yeah, like this one was like.
Do you still feel that way about it? Do you still feel like?
If you had to make me choose, the original trilogy would be my go-to over the prequels.
Well, yeah. But what I mean is, like, have your feelings changed for this movie in particular at all? Like, do you still feel like it's a good movie overall?
I kind of don't want to answer that.
Okay.
Because I don't want Eddie to, like, hate me.
Just
do.
There's your answer already. Like, so you do.
Yeah, I do, dude.
Yeah?
I still think these movies are like.
No, I'm not saying the whole trilogy.
Not along with this one, I'm saying.
Like, I'm saying this one in general, right?
Yeah, this one too. Like this one.
You still think it's
dude,
good?
I still think it's good. I still think.
Because I still think this is. I don't think it's as great as it was when I first saw it, but also
definitely not. Like I'm still like when if I watch Revenge of the Sith now, when it's over, I'm like, what the fuck?
Damn, Eddie's about to walk out on us, dude.
No, like I'll still
breaking my heart.
No, dude, like I'll watch this shit like I'll watch it tonight and be like, what the fuck was that?
I will say, dude, the CGI has held up perfect with this one.
With this one, yeah.
Yeah,
With this one, yes.
Yeah.
They got it down on this one.
It's like I feel like in the first one they're like, okay, we gotta try something new, and the CGI was good.
The first one, though, to be fair, like it was shot with actual film, and it was like the last one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The next two were like all HD. And
All
stuff.
digital shit.
Yeah, that's why. Like I don't know, like the first one, like I think that's why I like that cinematic look that the first one has, especially like I said with the last fight scene.
Yeah.
It has like that almost kind of grainy look that film has, and like that was the last one to be shot like that. And after that, George Lucas just like, no, I want like fucking super clear quality. But yeah, definitely like I think this one has held up like the best out of all of them as far as like CGI goes.
Do you think it did good as far as like setting up for episode 4? As far as like
the only thing like I wish they would have expanded more on is just like the friendship between Obi-Wan and Anakin. And like the crazy part is like I've seen deleted scenes, and like there were like scenes that I wish would have stayed in the movie.
Just for Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, just because like a lot of them that were deleted were like little like hiccups between the two, like little things that showed like there's a fight scene where they're like it's unfinished, so it looked really shitty. They never finished it up. I don't know why they cut it out. But they have like this like way of talking to each other where like they have like this code like where they could talk around enemies so the enemies don't know what the hell they're gonna do. So they'll say like these weird things to each other and they know exactly like what to do. Like, okay, like I'll say this. They'll be like, oh, the water's wet, and they'll like that'll mean like, oh, I'm gonna jump over you. I'm gonna kill the guy behind you, or like just something stupid like that. But like, I think if they would have kept stuff like that, like it would have like added depth to their friendship, and like it would have felt more like a loss at the very end.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Just
because like I don't know, to me like they could have done more of like they could have dug deeper in their friendship, and like it would just like made the impact of the last fight like even heavier than what it was.
Yeah,
and I think like that's the one thing I wish they would have done more of. You know, just the chemistry between them. And
yeah, they should have fleshed out that relationship a lot more. It would have gave more impact. And
I feel like what George Lucas decided to do instead was focus more on the relationship with Padme and Anakin, and it kind of the friendship between Obi-Wan and Anakin kind of took a backseat to that.
Yeah, and it's like it shouldn't have been that.
Yeah,
like I don't know. I think that was one of his biggest mistakes with the prequels.
Especially because like the chemistry between Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, it just wasn't there for me, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't believable. But I still to this day I still think this one's good.
I think
it's fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Obi-Wan has been not Obi-Wan. Evan McGregor has been like a great Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor. McGregor. I think he was awesome as Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
I think he had fun with the character too, and like
he really tried.
Yeah,
like he like I said, like a lot of those actors like had to deal with like a shitty script.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel bad for them because like, a lot of them had like their careers fucked because of this movie. So
would you consider George Lucas a good director?
I would.
Yeah.
I would. I just think like when he's the only one that has total control and like
and surrounded by a bunch of yes men,
afraid to like talk to him and say, hey, maybe you should like tone it down on this, or then I think he might have like some like
that was like one of the biggest mistakes as far as production goes.
Because I think if he focuses time more like on a different sci-fi that wasn't Star Wars, I think I would have enjoyed it. But I think he's a good director. But
yeah. So to wrap it up. Of the three, which one is your favorite, Eddie?
I would have to say Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. What about you, Birdie?
Revenge
of the Sith?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's because it's dark, dude, and I'm a dark person. So.
So goth, dude.
You don't get me. One thing about these prequels, though, in my opinion, they spawned some of the greatest Robin, like, what's his name? Some of the greatest scores that I've heard for a Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah.
John Williams.
John Williams. Fuck, I was about to call that guy Robin Williams. Holy shit. John Williams, though. He
R.I.P.
fucking.
Don't you mean Danny Elfman?
But he went all out for these prequels and
Yeah.
And because of the prequels, we got the Battlefront games, the originals, which were
Alright.
fucking
For
amazing.
PS2?
Yeah.
Oh, hell
Battlefront
yeah.
2, I spent countless hours.
also
on
now
that
you guys
game.
got some fucking video games.
Shut up.
'Cause we had.
Sorry, I got triggered.
So we had PlayStation, homie.
I got Dreamcast.
No, yeah, Battlefront and Battlefront 2, incredible games. Like they even make me want to get a PS2 again just so I could play those games.
I bought the Battlefront 2 for the PS2, and I don't even have one.
I have
I would play it at Birdie's.
I have his copy of Battlefront 2 at my house.
Hey, let me have it.
No.
All right, sick. But yeah, I would say Revenge of the Sith is definitely my favorite of the bunch. I know I tend to talk a lot of shit about these prequels, but it's mostly when I'm discussing it with people who love them, because I just I don't know, I get entertainment from riling them up.
Yeah, that's the thing about these prequels too. It's like you will never have a dull conversation.
Yeah.
With these prequels, because man,
There's always something to talk
It's
about.
so polarizing. Yeah.
It is. Because it has like its extreme fans.
Yeah.
And it has its extreme haters, you know.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I would fall more in like the middle of it. Probably leaning more towards like liking them.
Oh.
You would hate them?
I think I would lean towards that more than liking them. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was part 1 of this saga series.
Yeah.
And stick around for next week's episode, which we'll be discussing the original trilogy. And just want to say thank you everybody for listening. We are Betamax.
Now this
3 of us now, right?
is podcasting. I've been waiting all week to say that.
No, but seriously, like I want to thank everybody for like listening. Dude, I'm not cutting any of this shit, okay? All this shit's staying in. I don't give a fuck. Find us on Instagram, Twitter at BetamaxULTD.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Do you guys want to mention your social media at all?
No, I'm already cool.
Tight. Well, we do have a couple stickers. I have like 3 stickers left. Trying to figure out a way to do something where we could give them away. Just so look out on Instagram for that. But yeah, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for next week.